This video is on euthanasia. So, in this video I am going to cover different religious views on the topic of euthanasia. So euthanasia, just for a recap or an introduction, is mercy killing. So essentially, if a person has a terminal illness or a low quality of life, that there is the belief that that person's life should be allowed to be ended. Now, when it comes to looking at this, we need to know Catholic, Jewish and non-religious views on why euthanasia should or shouldn't be allowed. So, looking at this first of all then, the Catholic view. Now straight away guys, it's quite obvious that the Catholic view is going to be that they reject euthanasia in every circumstance. So, looking at this in more detail, the first reason why is the Catholics believe that all life is sacred, which means holy, that it is made by and belongs to God. This is because God has created us, okay, in his own image and likeness, and it was called that. You can also link it to the creation story as well. So therefore, Catholics would say that as all life is sacred, we have a duty to protect it and not end it. So therefore, euthanasia is wrong. The next point for you to use, number 2, is that Catholics believe that euthanasia is murder, which is wrong. This is because the 10 Commandments say that thou shalt not kill, and euthanasia directly goes against this. Therefore, Catholics support the current UK law on euthanasia, okay, that it says that it's not allowed in the UK. The third reason why Catholics are against euthanasia is because only God decides when we live and when we die. This is because the Old Testament teaches that there is a time to be born and a time to die. So therefore, Catholics would reject the stance of countries like Switzerland, where forms of euthanasia is allowed to be carried out. Now, the fourth reason that you could say that Catholics disagree with it is that Catholics believe that God is within us. So therefore, we should be protected. All life should be protected. This is because we are vessels of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so God is within us. Therefore, Catholics reject groups such as Exit and Dignitas. And what they say is that those groups that carry out euthanasia should not be allowed. A fifth reason is that euthanasia is wrong, or ending a person's life in this situation is wrong, as God has a plan for us all. And part of that plan could be at the end of our lives. Now this is because you can say, it's called the teaching is that I have a plan for you, that is in the Old Testament. And when it comes to therefore, you say therefore, Catholics support palliative care. Now palliative care is like in Whitchurch, where there's a hospital called Velindre that supports people who have a terminal illness, namely cancer, in the last moments of their lives. And Catholics would say that during those last moments of a person's life, they can be deeply emotional and spiritual, and they can have an impact on the people around them that could actually be part of what that person's plan is. So for example, what exactly I mean by that is that it could cause broken families that maybe have gone through some tough times and don't get on anymore, to come together at those moments to support one another through what they're going through, and actually that may have a lasting effect on that family. Therefore, that might be part of God's plan to bring the family back together through the last moments of that person's life. Now the final thing to say here is, Catholics never support euthanasia, but sometimes apply the doctrine of double effect to this. Now, this is because if a person is in pain, then it is a loving action to end that pain. Now, therefore, what you would say is, therefore, Catholics believe that if somebody had a terminal illness and a low quality of life and was in pain, that they should be able to receive a painkiller that may shorten their life, but crucially, you must say this in your answer, not end it, as only God decides that. Now, when it comes to the Jewish view, what you will say is that it is the same. Okay, the Jewish view is the same as the Catholic view, and you can just think of the idea of murder, all life is sacred, and all those things sort of answers. If you want to use a slightly different teaching, you could say the fact that God breathed life into Adam as being one of your teachings. Okay? That's what you can say instead. Now the second reason is that you can say there is Jewish teaching directly that forbids, okay, it's not in the Torah, but it forbids euthanasia. And this is because Jewish teaching says that a man falling from a cliff to his certain death, if he was shot by another man, then the man who has shot him has committed murder. Essentially what it's saying is somebody is about to die and their life is ended, that is murder. So therefore, Jews reject euthanasia in every circumstance, and they would reject groups like Exit, Dignitas, etc., etc. All the same impacts as the Catholic answer. Now, when it comes to the humanist view, or if you're part of the Year 11 group that is being entered in 2020, okay, or 2021, alright, so the current year group, that you can just phrase this as non-religious because you don't have to include the humanist view, alright, in every other circumstance you do. So, the humanist view on this, or the non-religious if you're in current year 11, that the non-religious view or the humanist view is that it is morally acceptable, okay, for euthanasia to take place. And this is because non-religious people or humanists don't believe in the sanctity of life, but instead care far more about the quality of life. And if a person's quality of life is diminished, is really low, or that they're in significant pain, that their life should be allowed to be ended. And they also think it's the idea of having sort of it being a human right to decide. So therefore, humanists and non-religious people who feel this way would campaign against the UK government, believe that we should change the law, would support groups such as Exit and Dignitas, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Now, obviously this is a massive topic, so there are lots of different views. So you don't have to do these as petty paragraphs, but instead you may wish to do them just as notes, or to list them, just so you're aware of them. So, some reasons why people agree with euthanasia for non-religious views. Well, number one, you could say because for a non-religious way, you could say that some people use religious teaching to justify euthanasia. This is because they believe that ending pain and suffering is a loving action. So therefore justify Jesus' second most important commandment of loving thy neighbour. Now Catholics don't think that, okay, so don't confuse it, but some people may argue against the Catholic view using that teaching against them, okay. Another reason why somebody may say that euthanasia should be allowed is that we've all got free will, okay, we've all got free will, so therefore we should be allowed to decide when our lives begin and when they end. Now,